I have a doppelganger. Dr. Gero is a brilliant but slightly mad scientist in the Dragon Ball Z android saga. If you look very carefully, you see that his skull has been replaced with a transparent plexiglass dome so that the workings of his brain can be observed and also controlled with light. That's exactly what I do. Optical mind control. But in contrast to my evil twin, who lusts after world domination, my motives are not sinister. I control the brain in order to understand how it works. Now, wait a minute, you may say. How can you go straight to controlling the brain without understanding it first? Isn't that putting the cart before the horse? Many neuroscientists agree with this view and think that understanding will come from more detailed observation and analysis. They say, if we could record the activity of all neurons, we would understand the brain. But think for a moment what that means. Even if we could measure what every cell is doing at all times, we would still have to make sense of the recorded activity patterns. And that's so difficult, chances are we'll understand these patterns just as little as the brains that produce them. Take a look at what brain activity might look like. In this simulation, each black dot is one nerve cell. The dot is visible whenever the cell fires an electrical impulse. There's 10,000 neurons here, so you're looking at roughly 1% of the brain of a cockroach. Your brains are about 100 million times more complicated. Somewhere in a pattern like this is you, your perceptions, your emotions, your memories, your plans for the future. But we don't know where, since we don't know how to read the pattern. We don't understand the code used by the brain. To make progress, we need to break the code. But how? An experienced code breaker will tell you that in order to figure out what the symbols in a code mean, it's essential to be able to play with them, to rearrange them at will. So in this situation too, to decode the information contained in patterns like this, watching alone won't do. We need to rearrange the pattern. In other words, instead of recording the activity of neurons, we need to control it. It's not essential that we can control the activity of all neurons in the brain, just some. The more targeted our interventions, the better, and I'll show you in a moment how we can achieve the necessary precision. And since I'm realistic rather than grandiose, I don't claim that the ability to control the function of the nervous system will at once unravel all its mysteries, but we'll certainly learn a lot. Now, I'm by no means the first person to realize how powerful a tool intervention is. The history of attempts to tinker with the function of the nervous system is long and illustrious. It dates back at least 200 years to Galvani's famous experiments in the late 18th century and beyond. Galvani showed that a frog's legs twitched when he connected the lumbar nerve to a source of electrical current. This experiment revealed the first and perhaps most fundamental nugget of the neural code, that information is written in the form of electrical impulses. Galvani's approach of probing the nervous system with electrodes has remained state-of-the-art until today, despite a number of drawbacks. Sticking wires into the brain is obviously rather crude. It's hard to do in animals that run around, and there is a physical limit to the number of wires that can be inserted simultaneously. So, around the turn of the last century, I started to think, wouldn't it be wonderful if one could take this logic and turn it upside down? So instead of inserting a wire into one spot of the brain, re-engineer the brain itself so that some of its neuronal elements become responsive to a diffusely broadcast signal, such as a flash of light. Such an approach would, literally in a flash of light, overcome many